Oh. Mhm. Yeah. Um, hey man, you there? Sorry, I'm, I'll turn on the camera right now. Hi. Uh, I can't hear you. Did you connect your audio? Because I can't hear from here.
So,
Okay, it
can
works.
you hear me?
Yeah. Oh, it's great now. Okay.
Great,
How,
thank you.
hi, Per. How are you doing, man?
All good, all good. A little bit hectic nowadays, but it's as it used to be. just always hectic times in May and June with daytime work and other things. So I got two daughters' birthdays as well, and everything,
Oh,
you
that's
know.
nice.
And on top of that, a new album release,
Yeah,
lots
just a
of
couple of
interviews.
days. It's in 3 days. I can't believe it's already here now in Friday.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Looking forward to it.
I'm really happy, man, because I personally have to say that I really enjoyed the host a lot. And I always thought that portrait songwriting is unmistakable and incredibly imaginative as well after all these years. But now you really took it to a whole new level with the host. And on top of that, this album is also quite complex and kind of more musically layered in comparison to your previous album at One with None from 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what was the band's primary goal while working on the host as a whole?
Well, um, what I mean, the whole idea for Christian started right off after we got off a tour with Satan,
Hmm.
and he just had this idea of a story of a soldier in the 17th century, dealing with occult stuff,
Hmm.
and um, yeah, and revolting against the church, and the church is the authority, and you can put that onto nowadays. Back then the church was the big authority, but nowadays there's other types of authorities.
Yeah.
um, um, and well, I think he wrote the whole concept like in he was finished in 2 weeks with the story, the context, and he had a bunch of riffs and others, and when he just when he had uh, so to led the path towards the story, the songs more or less wrote itself.
Hmm.
um this time it was, I think it was easier for all, actually. And then Anders, the drummer, he has written, I think, 2 or 3 songs, and also our new guitarist, or our latest. He's been with us for a couple of years now, but it's his first song that's being put on an album.
Hmm.
So and it fit the whole album concept very well, and made it even more diverse, I think. Um, so I mean, Christian had to change the lyrics just to fit some, but that's normally when you um, but this time maybe even more just to get the drama in the story right, together with the riffs,
Yeah.
and so on.
Yeah, and I really couldn't overlook the fact that this album is atmospherically darker than some of your previous works. Even the eerie blood-baited cover art by Niklas Webjörn perfectly captures that essence, and it almost feels like a real dreaded world that lies beyond that frame of the painting. And
Yeah.
like you said, this is your first concept album, and it was inspired by 17th century Sweden, partly inspired by historical events as well as some fictional ones. And
Yeah.
tell me,
Yeah.
can you tell me when and how did you guys decide that it was time to do a full-on concept album for Portrait?
Well, it was never decided
Huh?
in that context. It was just that Christian, like I said before, right when we got off the tour with Satan, he had this idea, and he just had the inspiration, wrote it, and then he presented it. And guys, I think our next album is gonna be a concept album, because I got this cool story going on here, and we just, hey man, go for it. And myself, I was blown away the first time we when I read the whole. I mean, of course, the first draft, if you say so, for the story.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
did you have like any authors or other sources of inspiration that inspired the albums in terms of the lyrical subjects, as well as the overall songwriting?
Yeah, well, that's really it's really a Christian's thing to answer. I
Okay.
cannot speak for Christian here, but I know that he reads a lot, and there's some certain books that he has drawn much inspiration from, and picked up many references in the story, both real historic and also tales, uh, occult tales from that time being.
Yeah, you can almost direct it and make like a movie out of it based on
Yeah,
the overall concept and even how the album transitions as a whole. It basically is like a storytelling pattern from start to finish. But there is a track that was a personal highlight for me, the ballad One Last Kiss, because it has like these elements that lean towards the Judas Priest and sort of Iron Maiden with Bruce Dickinson ballads as well. I mean, can you
yeah.
tell me a bit more about the story behind the making of that song?
Are you thinking about the ending of the song?
Not just the ending,
Well,
the song as a whole, actually.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's that's um that's really Portrait's first effort going towards a more ballad style,
Yeah.
but in the vein of 80s. I mean, myself, when I heard the first time, the Christian had done the demo for it, I was just oh, first I thought of the I had some actually Scorpion reference
Mhm.
to it when the chorus, and then the last part when it takes off the song, and goes more up tempo, and then I but this is just like when Death Calls with Black Sabbath,
Oh, I love the song. That's
when
one of
Death
my favorite songs
Calls.
of all time.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And that's I'm actually gonna do a demo of When Death Calls with another guy. We're gonna do a split vocal thing, just as a tribute to the Tony Martin albums being re-released.
Yeah, that box set is probably one of the biggest blessings that we received this year. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
I
definitely.
for years I couldn't stop listening for those Tony Martin fronted albums. When I saw that they were on streaming platforms and that now it's getting even more attention than before, I could not have been happier. I mean,
Oh,
to me, he was a very underrated singer, but he is up there with Dio
oh
undeniably
yeah,
because
oh
he is
yeah,
a great vocalist. Plus, he's a great guy overall.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So have you seen me doing vocal exercise when I'm do my warm ups? I've done so. I've actually uploaded when I do a warm up with Animundi.
Uh, I maybe
So
I did if it was on social media. I think I
I
must have
no,
seen it, but
it's on yeah, it's on YouTube. But
I think
well,
I did see it because you have to
yeah,
apologize me because constantly because I interview a lot of musicians and listen to a lot of albums, I lose track of what I just saw and what I just heard, and sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, that did happen. But yeah, once you
yeah,
mentioned Mundi, yeah, I think I did actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
you should definitely like honestly, you should definitely go for it because you know, a lot of people would cover anything of the 70s Black Sabbath, but Tony Martin, dude, that's
Yeah.
fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It is.
yeah, and the fact that this ballad, One Last Kiss, it's so well written that it doesn't sound like like a made for radio hit, if you understand what I'm trying to say. It's not like, oh, it's a friendly song, it's a radio friendly song. Not no, trust me. Like even nowadays people can criticize a band for including a ballad, but let alone here, it's all following a concept. And basically this album is very long, 13 tracks total. Closing track, the Passions of Sophia, is the longest one with
Mm.
its 11 and a half minutes of runtime. However, no
Yeah.
matter how the long the album is, it is successfully manages to keep your attention from start to finish. Plus you get more invested and immersed during the second half of the album. I mean, was it challenging for you guys to make the whole so structurally complex and rich as it is while you were making the album?
Well, like I've said in some other interviews, you know, I'm very pleased that you say that you find it interesting throughout the whole, because personally it's a very long album,
Mm-hmm.
very long playing time. It's in the yeah, it's in my opinion it is too long, but and I have as I have produced it, you work with it so intense that the last days before you have to leave it to the printing,
Yeah.
uh, you're after that your mind is just exhausted and you don't know if it's good or bad.
Yeah.
The only thing I can say is we just had one rehearsal where we, with the whole band, we played the album from finish to start as it was, yeah, more or less. I don't think we changed a lot after the arranged, or no, I think it was more or less uh, uh, written then. Uh, no rearrangements or so. But then that was the first time I sang the whole album from finish to start, and I got the feeling for the story, and I got in the mode. I for every song it took me deeper in, and I got really struck by it. Man, I think we got something here. I told the others because I I got really emotional with the story.
Yeah. It's
And after that,
incredible.
when you worked in the studio, you pushing yourself just to lay down the best vocals, and after that you put on your producer hat and you just blast your ears for several days trying to make the best out of it. After that, totally exhausted. I don't know if it's good anymore.
Yeah,
Like
I
that's
understand.
why I get so pleased, so glad to hear that you say that you find it interesting throughout the whole record.
Yeah, but it basically like for me, uh, I there are long albums that are just way too long that I cannot even stand listening to. And for example, the I don't know how you feel about it, but the new Metallic album 72 Seasons really isn't that interesting. First of all,
No.
it's way too long. It's
Mm,
not, it's so like lifeless and uninspiring to listen to. And like
yeah.
when I got to the last song, I was like, really? And this isn't
Mm,
like the Passions of Sophia. It's the same length, but the song still keeps you like your attention is still constant. It's not like,
yeah.
oh my God, this song is going on for so long and so long. And the part where you said about where you don't know if it's good or not, that's one of the things that I remember Tobias Forge of Ghost saying when he was working on Impera. He said
Yeah.
when I was re-listening to the album, I didn't really know if it was good or not because he had like hearing aids because he just completely got lost.
Yeah,
He lost
yeah, yeah,
track
yeah.
of it. So I understand
Yeah, yeah.
completely.
You do when you listen to the songs too many times, and you just listen to details when you're in the producing mode. So mm, you 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 lose the track of the feeling, the whole so the feeling that you want the listener to catch. You don't know
Yeah.
if you can you bring the music brings it or not, and definitely like you said with the Metallica albums. I mean. Uh, I do find I do did find the last album with latest album with Metallica. There's some quite good tracks, but way too long, like you said.
Yeah.
And I think there's some guys out there on the net that has cut down the songs
Yeah.
into much shorter, and it's much more interesting to listen to actually.
Yeah. Because that's the fault of I think that's the biggest fault of songwriting because you want to kind of keep the album as long as possible. Like that's
Yeah,
one of the things that Iron Maiden does too. There are a lot of long songs, but the
yeah,
only difference is Iron Maiden still has some sort of entertainment.
yeah.
Whereas this one is like the complete opposite. It's like it goes on for way too long. And it's like you're not even hearing melodies, you're not even hearing guitar solos, and it's not like rhythms changes here and there. And
Mm,
plus in your case, you do much of a good job that people really don't give you enough credit for it. Like, wow, these guys really know how to put on a very lengthy album and still keep it strong all the way through.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
The last song, "Passions of Sophia," is actually it was one of the songs that it was intended to be on the last album, At
mhm.
One With Love. Yeah, it was written during that time.
Mm-hmm.
But in the last minute, we felt that there was something missing, and it was the intro. We didn't have the soft intro, the
Yeah, yeah,
acoustic
yeah.
guitar intro, wasn't in the arrangement then, and Christian wrote that stuff part, and he just felt that now this will fit perfectly as an ending for this album, uh, because the rest of the song is more or less exactly the same arrangements
Yeah.
that we had before. The lyric, he just had to change very small in the lyrical concept, because it's like it's the passions of Sophia is the soldier's last thoughts. It's the aftermath of after all he's been through, and yeah, it fit perfectly with him.
Wow, really a great job done there. And I also want to bring this up. I heard this that there, I mean, throughout your music before, I heard black metal influences on the albums as well, blast beats and kind of tremolo picking riffs.
Yeah,
And on this album too. And this is a really pleasant surprise for me because it blended wonderfully with your dark and theatrical heavy metal elements. And somewhere along the line, they sound like those classic Swedish black metal bands like Dissection and Sacramentum. And
yeah.
can you tell me a bit about the decision behind this inclusion? Because I know that you guys generally fancy some black metal as well.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, we listen to more or less. We are very varied in our what we listen to. Um, um, But I must say, I mean, maybe you may maybe you didn't find, but from I think from the at least from the Crimen Les Majestatis Divina album,
Hmm.
we already there was some kind of small black metal elements
Yeah,
in the in our style of heavy metal. You know, we've always called our uh, call it heavy metal darkness. That's what we
yeah.
play. And that's I think it fits kind of well. I mean, it's a it is heavy metal in that sense, but with a touch of darkness. um, so, but well, I think you can say that for each album we've there sneaked in more and more
Yeah.
black metal uh, influences underneath it all, and I think it maybe we're kind of unique in that sense.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, it works. It works so well, and that's one of the things that I mentioned before about how strong the songwriting is after all these years. And talk about the years and everything. The band's 20th anniversary will be actually next year, and
Yeah.
looking at your entire journey, you certainly have come a long way and you have really progressed and developed as a band. Actually, not just as a band, but both as musicians and as excellent songwriters. How do you look back on these years in Portrait and the achievement of keeping the band on the pedestal for so long? I mean, on that high, strong pedestal.
Yeah, well, we've never lost focus, I think, when it comes to what portrait is and
Hmm.
what we what our musical goal is. It's to maintain the core, but never be afraid of broaden the horizons.
Hmm.
Um, and I think we've managed um, to do so in a good way on this album,
Yeah, you certainly
because
did.
there are a lot of elements, and I mean that's I like I've said also before. I mean, I'm a guitarist myself in from the beginning, and I managed during these years that I've been with the band. You know, sometimes I've just to Christian. I I think I'll skip the vocals now. I'll take the
Yeah.
guitar instead. We get another another guy for the vocals. Uh, because I found find myself the you know, if I hadn't been in the band, I would be the biggest fan of the band.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because the riffing is so intricate. Um, yeah, there it's really good craftsmanship when it comes to riff making and songwriting, I think. Um, and Anders as a drummer is he is also developed into a really good um, um, songwriter as well, I think, and that's very pleasing as well. And it also, you know, me myself, the style that I mean I wrote in some riffs here and there, but never a whole song for a portrait. Yeah, I did a instrumental song on the Burn the World. That's my composition. But apart from that, it's mostly Christian's work, Christian and Anders.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but and yeah, I think that's one of the reasons that we've never lost track, but always keep focusing on the what's best for the band in keeping the core. And we have no intention of changing styles or anything like that. That's I think you're always going to hear that it's Portrait in a sense.
Yeah, it will be very difficult to top this album if you kind of manage to do a follow-up to this, because when you have a like a very strong album, like every time you come up with a very strong album, people will always think, wow, this is so good. How are they gonna make the next one? And that's one of the things that I think a lot of people like. That's one of the things that happens like in a lot of with a lot of classic metal bands. Like a lot of people think this is probably the best they'll ever go. They're definitely gonna like have a difficulty writing the next one, and
Mm.
it actually turns out to be the opposite. It's actually even more interesting and even more expanded. Like you said, it broadens the horizon and everything.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I'm really, I'm really, I'm really looking forward to the release of this album. I can sense that people will definitely like it, and you're just a couple of days away from the official release. I mean, that's on Friday, and I wanted to ask you, are there any talks to do some shows in Europe or Eastern Europe as well to support the new album?
Sorry. Well,
I asked you, are there any talks of doing shows in Europe or in Eastern Europe to support the new album?
yeah. Actually, we had a plan to do two release shows next weekend, two special small club gigs
Mm-hmm.
just to celebrate the release. So those were supposed to be very special shows.
Mm-hmm.
Play go um, play a lot from the new album, but actually we hit got out when postponed it until the end of September.
Mm-hmm.
Today we got out with that news, um, and we're gonna fit it. We're working on doing a bit longer run than we're playing France. We're playing one festival. That's gonna be our first show now when the album's out. Time to Rock Festival in Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, it's Wacken. We're
Mm-hmm.
gonna do our first gig at Wacken, and looking much forward to that. Actually, we got a very good spot on the first day. Um, so and after that, I think it's the shows down in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Next couple of ones and a French festival as well. But we're working hard on locking in a longer tour as well in Europe.
Okay.
We're very much want to go down to Southern Europe because it's been way too long. Play Spain and Italy, for instance. We never played Portugal. Um, so that's what we're talking about, at least. Um, and there are also we're actually working on our first South American tour.
Mm-hmm.
So we're really hoping that it becomes reality.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
This is great news. I mean, look, if you guys ever come to Eastern Europe, if it's in Hungary or Croatia and Serbia, I'd really like to see you guys because I'm gonna make it there, whatever wherever it is, even if it's in Austria. I would actually love to see you guys because you guys put on a hell of a show. And
yeah.
since you mentioned Bach, and also I hope that the weather will also be of good use because I know that there's always talks of like heavy rain there, and of course the
Yeah.
mud and everything. So hopefully that goes well.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope so too. I mean, we haven't been to the festival, any of us in the band, since I was there 2003, I think. So it's well, over 20 years since I've been there, and
Mhm.
the other guys, I think it was like 2005, 2006 or something. And we just made a pact. No one visits the festival before we play there. And now, yeah, so it's um, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I hope I hope the weather will be good, not too muddy.
yeah, hope so.
But seriously, we are we very much want to come out and play as much as we possibly can. Uh, uh, we I think that's one thing that we have been. I mean, we need to show the world that we're. I mean, sometimes it feels like there too too few people knows about portrait, that we're actually out, that we exist, in the sense that we do put on a good live show. Um, I think we've yeah, that's we need to get out there and make people know that we're here and that
Yeah,
we exist and that we're a force to reckon with.
yeah, sure. Yeah. Per, thank you so much for doing the intro, man. It's been such a pleasure talking to you, man. And like I
Yeah,
said, really looking forward to the release of the host. And like I said, hoping to see you guys live in the near future.
yeah.
Are there any final
We hope,
words you'd like to say?
well, spread the word, and well, if you want to see us live, just tell the promoters that we're here, and we're more than glad to come and play for you guys. We want to get out there and play for as much people as possible, and there's plenty of countries that we haven't played as well. Like all the countries you mentioned, Austria we played, but I mean we haven't played Hungary, Serbia, or any of those. It will be, yeah, we're looking forward to be able to come and play
Yeah.
those places we haven't been in some several countries.
Yeah, okay. All right,
Yeah.
man. Thank you so much. Bless you. And hope to
Thank
hear from
you.
you
Thank
again
you.
soon.
Yeah. See you. Take
Take
care.
care, man. Bye.
Bye.